I'm going to try this again. I went over my 15 minutes of fame when I tried to do it before, so I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to keep doing it till I get it right. Um, Last night we had a Hanukkah miracle. One of those lights was left on. I turned them all off last night, and one of them was left on. So I'm going to do it in reverse. Okay. Um, I have my ideas of who left the light on last night and didn't leave it on. Who turned it on? Someone turned it on last night while we were asleep, because when I woke up, it came out here. One light was on. I think it was an alien. I thought it was Sparrow, but now I think it was probably an alien. Okay, so what I did was I was trying to stay under the 15-minute mark because apparently I'm timed. Although it's weird because sometimes I get more than 15 minutes. There seems to be no rhyme and reason to how that works. Unless someone who pokes me in the eye, because I got a little, oh, I'm getting one right now, actually, right here. Um, Someone doesn't want me to do what I'm doing. I don't know why, because it's a beautiful tribute. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Um, as some people may know, if they've been following my blog, Lorene Powell has been, Jo Bay has been on my radar in a big way lately, more than usual. And I think it has something to do with being afflicted. Genuflected? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, uh, I've been researching her, which I am loath to do. I cannot even begin. I mean, there is nothing I despise more than researching anything jobs. I will avoid that. I hate it. Okay. But sometimes the creative muse takes you there, and you have to go there. You just, if you're anyone who writes or acts or sings or does anything, you know that you don't control it. It controls you. And if it takes you there, you have to go there, in order to get past it. So I bit the bullet and I went there. And you should go there too. That way I don't have to like revise the whole thing or review the whole thing. Let's just say that I went on her website, the Emerson Collect, one of her websites. I'm sure she has many. One of them, the Emerson Collective, and I was trying to figure out what it was. It's not exactly a blog site. It's not a donation site. It's not a newspaper kind of site. It might be a comedy site, like a performance kind of, off center, kind of like what I do. Okay. But it seems like if it is, I think it may have been unintentional. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's this beautiful letter written for Malala, who she's one of my heroes. So I put on my little necklace, my good luck necklace. I don't know if you can see that. You might have to zero in on it. Okay, that necklace was made for me by one of Noah's classmates, a little girl named Elizabeth. It's an acorn on a piece of yarn. She makes these things all the time. Every time I see her, she makes something for me. She made me a finger rocket the other day. She makes them out of natural objects. And so today I'm wearing her necklace. And I'm going to read this letter. And I'm going to try to read it within my allotted time. Okay, so let me have to click over here. And this is a letter by Lorene Powell Jobet. Universal education is surest path to future worthy of girls like Malala. Today comes the encouraging news that 14-year-old Malala Yousafzai is showing signs of great progress as she recovers in a British hospital. Even after all the horrors of terrorism and persecution, last week's attempted assassination of this heroic young girl in northern Pakistan still has the power to jolt us awake to the reality confronting so many of the world's children. Masked Taliban gunmen targeted Malala as she returned home from class on her school bus. Her crime was speaking up for the rights of Pakistan's children, particularly its daughters. To go to school in a country where more than half of all women have never been to school. Malala was determined to get an education and thought other girls should be allowed to get one too. As Malala battles to recovery, let our tribute to this brave young girl be a renewed commitment to universal. Let's not stop at like local education. Why stop there? Universal education as the surest path to peace, honor, goodwill toward men. Increased opportunity and future worth of girls like Malala. Where adult voices in her society had failed, Malala effectively called attention to the education crisis in Pakistan. For her eloquent and moving advocacy, she was beloved and honored by many in her troubled country. Pakistan is second only to Nigeria, in the number of young children not enrolled in school. Roughly 10% the entire world's, I think that should say of, 10% of. Roughly 10% love the entire world's unschooled young children live in Pakistan, and 30% love Pakistan's population has spent less than 2 years in school. Around the world, grinding poverty and cultural taboos are the unwitting allies of the tall who shot Malala. They keep children out of school and rob them of their chance to reach their potential. 61 million children worldwide will never see the inside of a classroom. And at least 250 million children around the world cannot read, write, or count at a basic level. Girls, the poor and the war-ravaged, are hit hardest. Almost 35 million young girls around the world who should be in school are not. And women account. And the women in accounting. And women account for 2/3 of illiterate adults. Children in conflict-afflicted poor countries also count for a disproportionate number, yes, that's true, of out-of-school children. In South Sudan, the SS, for example, a child is more likely to die before the age of 5 than get a basic education. 12 years ago, at the turn of the millennium, world leaders committed. They were committed to provide every child with a primary by 2015, recognizing the need for renewed focus on getting children in school. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has launched, oh, I get it, the launch, okay. UN Secretary General Ban, you want to come over here?
What are you doing?
I'm reading this beautiful letter.
Are you also
I am.
videotaping?
I am. There, you did a photo bomb.
Also, I have a question.
What?
Finishing the channel on the Guardian Network is when
I can't right this second. I have to finish this because I got 15 minutes. Ban Ki-moon has launched Education First to fulfill the promise of universal basic education. Let me see if I still got, oh, I got it all the time. Okay. The stakes are vast. Getting more kids into classrooms is our best hope for increased peace and stability. Around the world, the least peaceful places have the highest rates, a think like 5% with interest. Around the world, the least peaceful places have the highest rates of children not in school. This is true in the in Africa, Asia, and in America. Violence is both a primary cause of children missing in education and can be a result of children missing in education. Without schools to teach skills and instill values, how do you combat an ideology that can drive gunmen to shoot a schoolgirl for wanting to learn? Nothing will so decisively determine the character of our world as the training of its young minds. Schools are also the best weapon against the poverty that fuels extremism and conflict. The UN estimates that the global poverty rate could be cut by 12%, lifting 171 million people from poverty just by teaching all students in low-income countries to read. Not by getting these kids through high school or to college, just by getting them to read, as I am doing right now. And for girls in the developing world, just a single additional year in school can increase earnings by 10, 20%. Because girls need to increase their earnings, I guess. Wait, let me hold on. Did I get this right? These goals are within our reach. Deceased extremism and greater prosperity are important, but we should remember also the benefits that are not so easily quantified. Education is basic. We're missing an A there. Education is a basic human right. Every boy ought to be able to write his name. Every boy. Every mother should know the joy of reading a book to her child. All children should have a fair chance to make the most of their talents. Talents. Nothing is more local than a school. I know that's true around here. Maybe there's a school that's local to you. But nothing has a more global impact than education. Malala Yousafzai's struggle is our struggle. I have the same struggles as Malala. I am also shot in the head, lying in a British hospital, trying to recover my functions. We can all relate to that. Here in America, we know that our future is inextricably tied with the education of all our children. We all lose. Many are struck in failing schools. And barely half Black Latino young men, they graduate from high school on time, if at all, if with all. The spread of violent extremism, 2 long wars, and the hard truths of global economics make it equally plain that we can no longer afford a world where tens of millions of children never set foot in a schoolhouse. Malala is right. There is no more effective weapon against the forces of darkness than light. And there is no more consequential light than the light of a classroom. And I'm watching the clock tick. 14:18, 14:19, I am going to make it. Happy Hanukkah. L'chaim.